Hello, how y'all doing today? My name is Bernie Thompson, and today we're here to take a look at this little 2017 Jeep Grand Cherokee. This Jeep was repossessed and it was at another shop, and they called a locksmith in to get a key put into this vehicle. But this locksmith is very, very capable. I know this locksmith, and he is very, very good. And he couldn't get the key into this car. He tried 4 different keys, and like he said, there's no way 4 keys are bad. Something's wrong with the car. So he had it sent over to this shop because he knows this shop has the capability to fix this vehicle. So I think this car has some type of a communication bus problem. So let's go ahead and let's get a scan tool and let's take a look at this Jeep's bus and see what's going on, because I think this car has a bus problem. Okay guys, I got a scan tool up, and to get into the car I had to enter the VIN number because the scan tool can't read it. So let's do an auto scan here. I'm going to fault code read them. Okay, now all the green modules we communicated with, all the gray modules there's no communication, and these orange ones have active codes. Okay, so the BCM has codes, the steering column module has codes, and the radio frequency hub has codes. Now guys, this radio frequency hub, that's the security system in this car. So I'm worried about that one. So the headlamp switch and the dimmer light, now they got the lower panel off of this dash. Somebody's been working on it, so I think these are caused because that panel is off. The steering column switch has lost communication with the body control. And right here, we have the radio frequency hub. Now this guy is the one. If the radio frequency hub goes out, the car is not going to start. This is the security system in this car. It's lost communication with the ECM, PCM, it's lost communication with the body control, and it's lost communication with the gear shift module. Okay guys, I want to get a scope on this bus to start with, and I want to look at what's going on the bus, very first thing. So let's get a scope set up. Okay, I've got the scope ground connected at the battery ground, and as you can see, that battery is under the front seat. We all know what this comes from, Europe, right? This is a German trick. Okay guys, I've got the scope connected. I found CAN high and CAN low lines at the engine control module. The yellow wire is low and the red wire is CAN high. So that's one of the connections. Let me show you the next one. Okay guys, my channel 3 green and channel 4 blue are in pin 6 and pin 14 at the DLC. I'm using an E-bob, a breakout box for the DLC. Now always be aware that when you use one of these boxes, that this may not be connected directly to the bus. It might go to an intra module, and that means that the only data you would see at this point is between the scan tool and the intra module, but you wouldn't actually see bus data. Now I think on this car, because this goes to a body control module and not a front control module, I think this will be on the bus, but I won't know that until I fire it up. Always be careful when you use any DLC connection. Always be aware that you may not be seeing the bus. You might only see the scan tool port into a module, and that is not the actual bus. This is particularly important because if you came and checked this waveform here and it was good and you're not on the bus, you're not even checking the bus. So guys, you got to be careful here. That's why I always like to go and get twisted pair, like at the transmission control ABS or engine control module, where I know I'm on the high-speed bus and I don't have an interim in between me. Now on this one, we'll see really quick. If these two waveforms match, then I'm on the bus. But on many Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge products, you're not on the bus if you get a breakout box from the DLC. Please be aware of that. Okay guys, I got the scope connected. Now I want some data. So I've set a trigger up on channel 1, so we're going to trigger this. I'm going to push the start button. Okay, now right away I can see that the two waveforms are overlaying each other. That's the ECM, that's the DLC, and that's the ECM. So we can see that they're overlaying. So the DLC is part of the bus on this vehicle, so that's cool. Okay, so I can see that the bus is going down. So I'm going to turn on the flashers because that will keep the bus alive. Okay, so I see a problem with this bus, guys. There's not enough data on this bus. I should have more data packages right now on that bus. So I can push the key again. But I still don't have the amount of bus. If this whole bus was lit up, I should have more messages on the screen right now. So I want to try another trick. I want to get the scan tool and I want to activate the ignition start through the body control and not through the push button, because possibly there's a push button problem. I mean, we know that the guys had 4 keys and he couldn't get any of the 4 keys to take in this vehicle. So there's some problem. So I want to go ahead and light this up another way. Let me get that test set up. Okay guys, I'm in the body control. I'm going to bring up the active test. I'm going to go to ignition start run. I'm going to go to start run. So now I'm going to activate it through the body control. Look at how many messages came up, guys. Did you see that? When I activated the body control through the scan tool and not through the push button, now I've got the bus I expect. That's about the number of messages that I expect on a bus. You know, looking at a bus signal is far more than looking at bits. How many messages, how many packets of data are on there tells me if the bus is awake or not. Okay, so right now, that's about the activity I expect from this bus. So now I've just proven that the push button is not waking the bus up. So the push button is not waking the bus up. So I need to get a wiring schematic up and I need to see how that button is wired and what it's wired into. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay, I brought up a wiring diagram. This is the keyless ignition. This is the push button. I got a power, a ground, and I've got 2 communication wires that go back to the wireless frequency hub in the rear. Okay, I've got a purple wire and I've got a white-green wire, and these are going to be the bus wires. So I need to go back to, I'm going to go back to the hub because this is in the left quarter, and I'm going to get into these 2 wires because I want to see what's going to happen. Okay guys, I'm into the radio frequency module. This is in the left rear quarter, and now I have moved channel 3 green and channel 4 blue from the DLC connection to the radio frequency hub. If you remember, we had codes that said the radio frequency hub couldn't talk to the body and the ECM. So I want to check those wires right there. The white wire, channel 5, is on a signal that says whether the push button has been activated or not, and the purple is connected to the K line, which is a LIN line or a K line, and that's going to be a low speed communication signal going between the push button and the radio frequency module. Let's go get some signals. Okay guys, the purple is the K-line bus, and then the white and red is at the computer. And if I turn the white and red off, I can see that that's the messaging from the radio frequency hub. So they're matching, they're there. Okay, so now I want to push the button, push the push button. Okay, I want to get a better depiction to where you can see this better. We're going to come over here. You can see the white trace. That's telling it that I've pushed the button, and you can see that the K line changes its message once the button is pushed. So that looks to me like that is working. That totally looks like that system is functional and working right now. The scan tool, I'm going to get into the wireless frequency hub here. I want live data. What I'm interested in, guys, is the start-stop button. It says it's not pressed. So let me press it while we watch the data on the scan tool and the scope together. Okay, so it absolutely is getting the message, and it's saying that I pressed it, and I can see it on my scope at the same time. That module sees the request to start the car, and it's just not starting it. Okay, now I want to get into the body control. I want to get into live data. Right here, ignition run, ignition start. So let me push the button and see what we get. It's not changing the request because there's no key in this vehicle. So the radio frequency job is to check the keys and to make sure there is a secure key in the vehicle before it's going to tell the body control to start it. So the radio frequency hub is getting the message from the push button, the wireless start-stop switch, but it's not generating one to here, and I think this is because there's no program key. So now I want to do one more test. I want to look for the key that he's got programmed or supposedly programmed to this car. Go ahead and cut that. Okay, guys, this is the remote that came over here with the car. It's supposedly programmed into the car, and this is the fourth fob that this guy has tried to program. Now I can see I can lock and unlock the car, but guys, that doesn't matter because this locking and unlocking the car is done through another portion of this. This key has got to be programmed to the radio frequency hub with a skim key, and it's got to be actually programmed to the car to allow this vehicle to start. So don't get confused because it opens and closes the door. That's a mistake. Okay, guys, I'm going to go back into the radio frequency module. I'm going to go to test. I want to locate the keys, the learned keys. So I'm going to put this key in the center console so it can find it. It did not find any key to this car, guys. It's not finding that key. That key is supposedly programmed to this car. It's not. The key is not programmed. I know the guy tells me that's the fourth key. It's 4 bad keys is what he's programmed. We're going to need a new key, and we're going to need to program a new key to get this vehicle going. Okay, guys, the shop ordered the key, and this key came from the dealer. It's a Jeep key, but what I want to show you is how similar these keys work. This key doesn't work, and this key went right in. He said it programmed right in with no problem. And this is a Jeep key. Now I want to show you what the difference is. I'm going to go ahead and this is the waveform we were just looking at. Look at how that big break isn't there anymore in the purple. I'm going to do this again. I want to show you. Okay, now I'm going to take this key and I'm going to put it outside the car, and I'm going to try this key again. Watch what happens. That big break says it's not a program key. That's what that means, guys. Okay, that's just too cool. Now I'm going to take the one that's right and it programmed in. Car's fixed, guys. Okay guys, I know that you think that this is just some simple diagnosis, that it's just a key. Wait till this car comes to your bay and it's had 4 keys and all 4 keys are bad. And it has codes for the CAN communication between the radio frequency module who handles the security and the engine and body control what start the car. It's not that simple. But it is that simple. If you follow the data in your shop, you too will have a car that starts and you can deliver to your customer when you're done. Always follow the data. Don't get caught up in all the bullshit that it's got 4 keys. All 4 keys can't be bad. Guys, 4 keys were bad and all of them were bad. Sometimes these diagnoses are really complicated. And it's because you let factors get into your mind that have nothing to do with the data. All I focused on was what the data I was getting until I saw that everything was working as far as I could see and it was a bad key. And at the end, was that cool how the brake came into the K line if the wrong key was there? Well, what a trick that is. If I just would have known that, I'd have been done a lot sooner, right guys? You guys use scopes and you too will have good troubleshooting in your bays.